Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video, I have a very long awaited Mooncat haul for you guys. This stack of boxes over here is all the way back from May. Yeah, May. That's how long these poor boxes have been waiting for me to swatch and haul them for you guys. And of course, I have the entire collector's edition of the Alice in Wonderland box that they released a while back, which I think was after I placed the initial order. So I think that might have been June or July, if I'm remembering correctly. So another example of just how backlogged I am of unboxing some of these packages. But in any case, we're going to go ahead and go over these today. I'm going to unbox everything first. We're going to go over the Alice in Wonderland first, and then we're going to go and see which 14 polishes I have in these boxes over here. So a couple of things: I have been far more absent on my channel than I had been previously. Short story is that I think I allowed myself to just get overwhelmed by a lot of things, not just on the channel, but in life in general. So I didn't really make the conscientious decision to step back, but I did quite step back. Also, the other thing is, in case you're wondering how I all of a sudden have a hand tattoo, I went to apply a temporary tattoo on myself and didn't realize that this was the kind that actually was a semi-permanent tattoo, because I got this on like Shein probably a year, maybe even 2 years ago. Then I applied it and I thought it was a sticker because it had this like silver or residue on it. Well, I went to sleep and apparently I slept on my hand like this. Thank goodness this wasn't on my face because it transferred in the night. So now I have a semi-permanent finger tattoo. So there you have it. Let's go ahead and dig into my Mooncat haul. All right, so like I said, we're going to go over the Alice in Wonderland Collector's Edition box first. This is going to be 6 nail lacquers, 2 nail art sticker sheets, a magnetic wand, and a nail file, all of which I was really excited to see because Alice in Wonderland has always been sort of one of those stories that just resonates with me. I don't know if it's the creativity of it or the running away from home and sort of finding this completely different world. I don't know. So I'm always curious to see when brands do Alice in Wonderland themed things, and Mooncat came out with an entire collection and an entire box. So I did go ahead and get the box because this is sort of reusable in a way. You have the pull me and lift me little things here. This one is a drawer that has 3 of the polishes and the magnetic wand in it. And then the interior of the box, that says lift me, there we go, has the other 3 polishes and the glass nail file. And then up here in this little envelope we have the nail stickers. So there are going to be 2 of those. These are really adorable. They have the little bread and butterflies. They have some like stars and starfish bubbles, of course the Mad Hatter's hat, the White Rabbit's watch, the teacups, and of course all of the hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds. So very cute, and they're also a good size. I mean, by good I mean small enough to use on your nails. I feel like oftentimes the stickers are a little bit large in some collections, and I've got tiny little fingers, so when I have large stickers I don't often get a chance to use them because they don't really fit. So that should be really fun to use, and there are 2 sticker sheets. I believe they are the same. So yeah, the box is very, very well made. It will probably sit on a shelf somewhere for some decor, but let's go ahead and look at the polish. We have adorable Alice in Wonderland custom boxes. This is so well thought out. They are adorable. They say abandon the ordinary, which I believe is Mooncat's slogan. So the 2 additional pieces that came is the magnetic wand. I think this is just the standard magnetic wand that comes with just about any magnetic polish that you get from Mooncat. And there's no additional logo on this, although that would have been really nice to have a little Alice in Wonderland on the one that came with the collection, but there is that. And then it came with the glass nail file that is branded there with the Mooncat logo, as well as the Disney Alice in Wonderland. Comes in a nice little sleeve, and I love glass nail files. These are ones that I will go out of my way to use because I cannot stand the metal ones. I never have been able to, even when I was younger. I will use the cardboard ones, but the glass nail files are just a game changer. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek at the polish. So the first one is a beautiful pink called Do You Play Croquet? And this is a beautiful like orchid pink that is full of flakies. This one should be absolutely gorgeous on. I love flakies, and the color of this is a really nice soft, almost mauvey orchid pink. And I think you can see what I mean by that around the edges. That sort of a duskier coloration that you're seeing is that little bit of a mauve peeking through, and then it has a purple flash to it, which is adding the orchidness to this. So really beautiful combination there. That one is Do You Play Croquet? And we're going to unbox everything, including the big stack of 14 bottles, and then we're going to go ahead and swatch everything at the end. The second one is a light blue. This one is Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much. This is another flaky polish, and this time in a very soft blue. It also has a scattering of hollow sparkle. So that one was Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much. The next one is a beautiful purple. This one is a Very Merry Unbirthday. I think this was one of the more popular polishes from the collection. This, as a purple fan, I knew I would like. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is this mix of a fuchsia with purple. There are multichromatic flakies in here, and there is a shift to gold and green there at the extreme angles of the bottle. Look at that. So beautiful. So that one was a Very Merry Unbirthday. Next up, we have one of the magnetics. I actually don't remember how many of them are magnetics, but this one is a gold called Bread and Butterflies. Now, this is one that I definitely wasn't initially drawn to, but I did see a couple of PR swatches from other channels that were really surprised by how much they liked this color. And I'm hoping that I will too, because the base of it is not gold. It's sort of this bread color, a sort of a tan, and then you have the gold on top, and then of course that green shifting shimmer plus flakies and some hollow sparkle. So this is actually a very incredibly unique polish. Let's go ahead and see it magnetized. So that shimmer is what pulls up into the magnetic line, and then you're left with this kind of a light goldenrod sort of a color. So there's some brown in it. It's not strictly speaking a vibrant punchy gold, but you do get that gold and green in the magnetic line. So I do have hopes that I will at least sort of like this color. Now, because it also is a shearer polish in a single coat, I think this could also make a really interesting topper over other colors. I might have to play around with that and see how I like that. But this one was Bread and Butterflies. Next up is a deeper purple. This one is called Cheshire Cat, and this one is amazing. So this is a deeper shade of purple than a Very Merry Unbirthday. It also has a different type of flaky in it, as well as a different finish. So you have a deeper grapier purple in a Very Merry Unbirthday, whereas Cheshire Cat has like a multichromatic shift to it that you can see there, some green popping up. I'm seeing blue in person, and then of course you have at least two different kinds of flakies in here. This one is gorgeous, and this is also one of the magnetics. Let's see it magnetized. So there it is with the magnetic pull. You get that gold to red pigment pulled into the magnetic line. Then you can see that deeper purple base just jam-packed full of all of those beautiful flakies. That one is Cheshire Cat. And I take it back. I think this last one, Mad Hatter, is one of the ones that was incredibly popular. So this is it, Mad Hatter. This one I know sold out a couple of times. People were keeping their eyes open for a restock, and it is absolutely gorgeous. This one has a forward face of a deep green, but it is a multichrome icy purple, green, gold, and orange, and then you have more multichrome flakies and some hollow sparkle in this, as well as a shimmer. There is a lot going on in this one, and I think it might be a magnetic as well. Yeah, there we go. So a green pulls up into the magnetic line. You're left with that darker purple base, so a collection with three purples basically. Yes, please. And then you can see even better that hollow sparkle in here. This one is really incredible. So I think this is going to be another favorite if I am making predictions. And that one is Mad Hatter. All right, so that is the collection from Alice in Wonderland. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the boxes for my normal haul of all of the other polishes. And yeah, actually I miscounted on my receipt. There are 15, not 14 polishes. So in no particular order, let's take a peek. The first one is a blue. This one is Mermaid Bait, and this one is a larger particled shimmer in a light aqua blue. The particles shift from green to pink to gold. This should be absolutely gorgeous. Look at that pink shift in it. This is a color combination that I tend to frequently purchase because I really love the contrast and the play of colors in a light blue base. So this is probably something that I eventually will have to come back and do some comparisons of, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So that one was Mermaid Bait. Next up is Earth to Gaia, and this one I believe came out in like the Goddess collection. This one is a very interesting sort of a minty shade of this green. There's a scattering of micro hollow glitters and then a shifting shimmer that goes from pink to green to gold. You can tell I like that shimmer. I get it quite a lot, this time in a much finer milled particle. If you compare it to Mermaid Bait, you have a much finer particle there. You can see how smooth that looks, whereas in Mermaid Bait you have those larger particles that you can see speckled throughout the polish. So that one was Earth to Gaia. Next up, this is one that I believe was in the Dinosaur collection or Earth collection or something like that. This is a green called Tectonic Shift, and this is a really beautiful shade of a light green, this time loaded with these smaller particled flakies that shift from green to gold to blue, and there's red as well. Wow, look at that. You can see the orange down there, the red, and then the green, that electric green popping up there. Wow, very, very pretty. This is another very beautiful color. That one was Tectonic Shift. Next up, we have a very light blue. This one is If Frogs Had Wings. This one I think came out in like a Fairy Tales collection, and this is a very soft light blue. It has these beautiful green iridescent flakies and then a shifting shimmer that goes from a red to this orange there at the edge of the bottle there. This one is beautiful, very ethereal, definitely fits into the category of a fairy tale, so can't wait to see this one swatched. That one was If Frogs Had Wings. Next up, we have a beautiful purple. This one is Take Me to Your Leader, and I'm not sure which collection this one came out in, but if I had to guess by the name, I would guess it has something to do with aliens because that's what it sounds like. Let me know if you know. This is a very beautiful shade of purple, again with a shifting shimmer. This sort of falls somewhere between in particle size. Yeah, it's not quite as large as the one in Mermaid Bait. I don't know if you can see that difference in particle smoothness, but it's definitely a larger particle than what was in Earth to Gaia. So hopefully you can see a little bit of a difference there in the textures that you're seeing. You get a little bit more of a less smooth look. You can sort of see the little dots in Take Me to Your Leader. And yeah, this is just a stunning combination. I think this is going to be another favorite. Kind of no surprise considering it is a purple, but that was Take Me to Your Leader. Ooh, next up I got one of their creams. This one is Midnight Drive, and oh my goodness, this is a gorgeous purple. Wow. So I don't know that I had tried one of their creams before. If I do have any of them, I definitely don't have as many creams as I do their other formulas, their shimmers, flakies, and all of that. So this one I was very drawn to. I also believe that I purchased everything while they were having a sale back in May, but this is probably going to be another favorite. I love this sort of a rich grapey purple. It has a depth to it. It is really gorgeous. So that one was Midnight Drive. And they are also getting ready to have their lunar sale, I believe, coming up at the end of October. Still trying to decide if I'm going to make a purchase or not. I figured what I would do is start with unboxing what I already had purchased so long ago and see which ones they still have stocked on their website and see if there are any that I would like to get for their upcoming sale. But next up we have Cyborg. This is another stunner of a purple polish, this time sort of in an inky blurple base that has a ton of shifting shimmer. This goes from a red to green to gold. Again, the green in this though, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So you also get some orange there. This is an incredible shift. I get the feeling this is going to be another one of my favorites from this haul. This is incredible. So that one was Cyborg. Next up we have this one, which is Curse of Calypso. I believe this is another one that came out in either the Fairy Tale collection or maybe the Gods and Goddesses collection. I'm actually not too sure, but this is another purple, this time in a very light, ethereal formula, and you have a stunning larger particled green to gold to like purple. I don't know if you can see that. I think you're seeing almost like an aqua, but in person behind the aqua, or actually no, in place of the aqua, is this beautiful like lilac blurple. It is really beautiful. I think this is another one where the shifts are going to be amazing. So that is another one that I'm very excited to see swatched. That is Curse of Calypso. Next up we have Ghosts of Hecate, and this is one that I sort of hemmed and hawed about. I think I've probably mentioned it before, maybe even in my previous haul video when I got its Ghosts from Wildflower Lacquer, that these kind of polishes I often really appreciate better on other people. And I don't know if it's because I tend to have staining on my nails. I mean, right now I've got this really beautiful Polished for Days, room for 1,000, but when I'm not wearing polish, I do have a yellowing of the nails because I almost literally always have something on my nails, and I think it's just a thing that happens when you constantly have things covering your nails. So when you're wearing something so dainty and delicate like a white polish like this, it has a tendency of catching the yellow undertones that you already have on your nails, which isn't the most flattering. So it doesn't stop me from buying the ones that I find very incredible. Like this one has this rainbow of intense shifting shimmer plus hollow micro glitters, all in this beautiful light, like off-white base. It is very beautiful. I think you can see some of that shifting shimmer, hopefully. I mean, on camera, I think you're seeing that blurply blue, but in person, there's gold, there's red, there's orange, there's green that pops up. I don't know if any of that's coming through on camera at all, but it is really amazing. Oh, there we go. There's some of that red. But there are so many other colors in person. Plus, of course, that hollow. So another beautiful one. I'll have to see if I can't figure out a way of wearing this. Maybe just over a squishy white to sort of help cancel out the yellowing of the nails. But that was Ghosts of Hecate. Next up is this beautiful coral. This is Molten Lava. Look at this gorgeous color. So this one has these micro flakies in it, all in this corally fire color. The shifts that I'm seeing are orange, red, green, there's gold and yellow. Look at that vibrant shade. This is beautiful. Another one that I can't wait to see, although I'll probably wait to wear this in the summertime because this strikes me as a summer color, but that one was Molten Lava. Next up is another purple. This is Into the Wishing Well. I think this is another from the Fairy Tales collection, and this one is another in the sort of a mid to small particle size, so somewhere along the lines of, which one was it? Maybe it was Take Me to Your Leader. I think that might have the closest particle size to do a comparison of. They are both purples, but they are different shades. You have a lighter, almost dustier purple in Into the Wishing Well, and you have more of a grapey tone in Take Me to Your Leader. And I will try to arrange these in some semblance of an order so you guys can see some comparisons. And if you're looking to do a wish list for the Mooncat sale as well, hopefully that'll help you with your wish list. But yeah, this one is a beautiful dusty tone of purple. You have those large particled shimmers that are shifting from green to gold mainly, but I am seeing some blue at the extreme angles, and I think you're seeing orange on camera. So very beautiful. This one also has a scattering of the micro hollow glitters in it. Very, very pretty. So that one was Into the Wishing Well. And then we have this orchid called Poison Berry, and this is a very different formula than I think any of the other ones in this haul so far. I think maybe the closest one would be Earth to Gaia. Yeah, actually those might be a similar finish. So you have sort of a creamy base with a beautiful shifting shimmer and the scattering of the hollow glitters. Yeah, I think those might be a similar formula. So this is a very beautiful sort of dusty, almost taupey base around the edges. You get that dusty gray quality, but it's definitely a lilac shade. It's sort of that pinky purple. You have the scattering of those hollow glitters and then a beautiful shimmer that has that purple to pink face. I think you can see more of that pink there at the top of the bottle. I want to say there's a bit of orange that I'm seeing pop up as well. So there's probably more shifts. There you can see that sort of a dusty quality that I'm talking about around the edges. So another beautiful polish. That one is Poison Berry. Ooh, next up, this one is Pangea. This is one from the dinosaur collection, and this is one that I was very excited to see. I, in fact, might have to have this on my fall nail polish rack because this is incredible. So this has those smaller, finer flakies in it, this time in this deep blue base, I think. I know they had a teal. Yeah, this is definitely a blue base. So there you can see it on the wand. It is a deep blue. It's a little bit more vibrant in person than it's coming up on camera, but then you have this incredibly contrasting shimmer with those vibrant reds, fiery oranges. You've got gold and a vibrant green. There's that green. Wow. Just incredible. This is probably going to be another favorite, and if this is indeed from the dinosaur collection, I think all of those were matte as well, so that should be interesting to see. That one is Pangea. And speaking of the dinosaur collection, I might have to go back and get a few more of those on the sale because I think I did talk myself out of a few of them, and I was regretting that even after I placed this order. So we'll have to see if I end up grabbing some more. The next one is Flight of the Monarchs. This one is a light dusty pink. You have a very strong gold to orange shifting shimmer in this with maybe a pinch of green. Just a pinch of green. It's not nearly as vibrant as the other shifts that I've seen in the other polishes, but the swatches of this were very, very beautiful, very fairy tale like, and I definitely wanted to see this one in person. So excited to see how that one swatches. That is Flight of the Monarchs. All right, just one more before we get to the swatches. Ooh, and we are closing it out with another purple. This one is Serpent's Tongue, and this is another beautiful purple. This has these larger hollow glitters in it and a green to gold to pink shifting shimmer. That is another beautiful one. This is very different from all of the other formulas because it does have the larger glitters in it. Look at that twinkle. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's the last one to unbox. That one was Serpent's Tongue. All right, so I think I have these in some semblance of an order, not necessarily Roy G. Biv, but we're gonna go ahead and go with it. Let's go ahead and get to swatching. All right, so here we have everybody swatched. I did have to go to a second wheel for the last polish, but hopefully this will give you guys a good idea about how all of these polishes compare to each other. I wouldn't say I necessarily found any accidental dupes, but we do have some similar colors in the polishes. So we're going to go over each polish. And as I've been doing with all of my hauls, I will let you know if I run across any that are regret purchases, if I would have changed what I ordered or anything like that. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. This one is Poisonberry, and it is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one does have a crelly creamish formula, so I do think some people might be okay with just 2 coats and a glossy top coat, but it's up to your personal preferences. I really like how this one ended up turning out. I love the soft color that it is, and the scattering of those holographic glitters are really beautiful. This one, I would say, doesn't necessarily fall into the regret category necessarily, but I will say it isn't particularly the most unique or amazing polish out there. It is beautiful though. I can definitely see myself reaching for it in the spring especially. So that one is going to be a keeper. That was Poisonberry in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have one from the Alice in Wonderland collection. This is Do You Play Croquet? This is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and this is one that is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, I love the flakies. This is a very nice tone of a purpley pink, sort of that orchid color, and I think what I like a little bit more about Do You Play Croquet compared to Poisonberry is the saturation of color. You get a little bit more of that vibrant tone, whereas in Poisonberry, it's a little bit more dusty. You get that grayish, dusty tone in Poisonberry, which is beautiful, but I think that's just, at least today, why I prefer Do You Play Croquet. And I also enjoy the scattering of the holographic in this one as well. This one is definitely not a regret either. So that one is Do You Play Croquet. Next up is Serpent's Tongue. This is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. I will say, because this does have a lot of glitter in it, some people might need a glitter smoother on top of the polish before you apply a glossy top coat. That way you won't get any of that texture coming through. It's kind of hard to say if mine is going to be okay on this swatch because I only used 1 coat of glossy top coat and it's not 100% dry yet, but I am already sort of still seeing that little bit of texture. So I don't know if that's just the swatches that I'm using or if it would be okay on a natural nail. In any case, this does not fall into the regret category either. This one is just dazzling. It is got so much going on. It is a beautiful color. I love the green shimmer in it, and of course those holographic glitters make for such a sparkle, twinkle on the nail. This one is probably one of the favorites of this haul. So that one is Serpent's Tongue. Next up is Curse of Calypso. This is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. This was one of the more sheerer polishes. It also doesn't have as vibrant of a color on the nail. I feel like this one is almost falling into a category of just this sort of a dusty, hard to describe if it's a purple or blue color. Now the shifting shimmer in this one is beautiful. You have that very intense gold to green, and I want to say there's a few more shifts that you're seeing. Maybe this one was the one that had the blue at extreme angles. It is very pretty, although I would say for myself, at least in this moment, I probably could have talked myself out of purchasing this one. It just is a little bit more on the sheer side than I would like for this kind of a color. So maybe if I do end up keeping it, I'll probably end up wearing it over a more saturated color to give myself a boost in opacity. Or maybe I will try it at least over 1 nail and see how I like it. But usually with colors like this that have a very prominent gold shift in it that are sheer, I tend to feel like I'm seeing a lot of my natural staining coming through instead of that gold shift. So we'll have to see how I like it. For the timing though, I would say this is the first one that kind of falls under that category of a regret. I could definitely have talked myself out of this one. So that one is Curse of Calypso. The next one is Into the Wishing Well. This is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This one has much more of a creamy formula. I think most people would be just fine with 2 coats of this one. This is a very nice color. I love the size of the shimmer in this one, as well as the scattering of the holographic glitter. Now this is a beautiful tone. Like I said, I do love the color. It is a dusty shade of a purple, not quite a chewed up great bubblegum. I don't think there's enough gray in this one, but it is really pretty. However, I would say this is one that I probably could have talked myself out of, just because I feel like I do find this type of polish quite a lot. So in my own collection, I don't know how unique this one is going to be. However, it's in my collection now, so I don't know that I'm necessarily going to kick it to the curb, but just something to keep in mind. If you already have this kind of a polish in your collection, it might not stand out necessarily. Just do a couple comparisons before you put this on your wish list or anything. However, if this is not a color that you have been able to find before, it is definitely worth grabbing. It is a 2-coater, and like I said, I think most people would be fine with that, so you definitely get your money's worth. This one is really pretty. So that one was into the wishing well. Next up is Cheshire Cat, another from the Alice in Wonderland collection. This one I swatched in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one I would say falls somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, depending on your nail length, application, and how you like to wear polish. This one though, I would say for a lot of nail lengths should just be fine in a 2 coater, and I adore this one. This is another favorite from the haul. I love how packed this is, full of those flakies, and the magnetic pull on this is really nice. It is mostly a pink when I'm seeing it here on the swatch, but if that is the particle that shifts to green, I'll be curious to see how that shifts in different lights. And of course, the main color is purple, so you know I gotta love it. This one I feel like does stand out pretty nicely in my collection, so this is not a regret either. So that one is definitely a keeper. That was Cheshire Cat in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Next up is Take Me to Your Leader. This one I swatched in 3 coats with a glossy top coat, and this one is really amazing. This has such a beautiful tone to that purple. It is a bit on the dusty side, but what I like about it compared to Curse of Calypso, it is much more saturated. Obviously you can see there's no comparison, but that might show you just how kind of dull Curse of Calypso turns out being. Now, I know the coloration is probably very intentional. It was meant to be a more delicate color, but I definitely appreciate this richer tone of purple in Take Me to Your Leader. I, of course, love the contrast. I adore it when polishes in the blue or purple range have this intense, fiery glow to them. Now, this one is on the more sheer side, so I think a lot of nail lengths would need 3 coats. However, if you don't mind seeing a little bit of your nail line and you like the soft look that this would have in 2 coats, you could definitely wear that. You can obviously wear polish however you wish, but this one is definitely not a regret. This one is just gorgeous. So that one is Take Me to Your Leader. Next up, we have another from the Alice in Wonderland collection. This is a Very Merry Unbirthday. This one I swatched in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one I would say falls somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, depending again on your nail length and application. I chose to keep it at 2 coats because I personally like flakies like this in 2 coats. However, if you wanted to add more opacity, you could go in with a 3rd coat to give yourself that, or you could always wear this over a blurring base coat or a matching cream. Even the one right next to it, which is Midnight Drive, could make a nice undie to wear under this one. But this is another one that is just absolutely gorgeous. I love the tone of purple. I love the speckled look that you're getting from those multi-chrome flakies. And again, this is just a gorgeous, beautiful color, so not a regret either. We are off to a great start so far with that Alice in Wonderland collection. That one was a Very Merry Unbirthday. And then our one cream from the haul is Midnight Drive. And you guys, this is 1 coat. 1 coat. Yeah. I was speechless when I swatched this. 1 coat. And I really don't see too many people needing a 2nd coat of this. This is very opaque. I was very impressed, and this is also not a regret. This is definitely a color that I look forward to wearing. It might even have to go on my to be worn sooner rather than later pile, so that's a keeper as well. That one was Midnight Drive in just 1 impressive coat. Next up is another from the Alice in Wonderland collection. This one is Mad Hatter in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one is another very impressive magnetic polish. I was a bit off on how I was describing the base. I put this with the purples, but I think it is more of a dark teal once I got to swatching it, but it is still absolutely gorgeous, and it does have those purple flakies in it, at least on one of the color rolls that they have, and then that green magnetic pole is beautiful in this. This is very impressive too with just these 2 coats. I think if you have like stiletto length nails, you might need a third to reach full opacity, but I was pretty impressed with the opacity that I got in just these 2 coats. So this is definitely not a regret either. That one was Mad Hatter. Next up we have Cyborg. This one I swatched in 3 coats with a glossy top coat, and this one I'm gonna have to see if I can't get these color rolls that I was seeing in the bottle to show up in different lighting, because so far in my studio lighting here, most of what I'm seeing is just a very stark contrast of that red glow. So it is a very pretty combo, but I'm just not seeing any of that electric green and gold that I was seeing here in the bottle. So I'm curious to see if I can see that in different lighting, but strictly going on the swatch as I'm seeing it here, I probably could have talked myself out of it. At the same time, I look at the bottle and I'm like, no, I want to see this in all the lights. I want to see all of those shifts on my nails. So this one's going to fall into the maybe category, along with Into the Wishing Well, of one that I could probably have talked myself out of, but I'm happy to have it in my collection so far. So that one is Cyborg. Next up is Pangea. This is one from the Dinosaur collection. This one I did swatch in 3 coats to get the most opacity, and as you can see even here, it is still a little bit on the squishy side. This one is a sort of a jelly formula with those flakies, and as you can see, it does dry to a matte finish. This one is very, very pretty. It does have a very unique combination, and again, I'm loving the contrast with that teal blue base and those vibrant fiery flakies. I will say I wish it was a little bit more opaque, but I can understand formulation wise that there's probably a reason why it was so squishy, or maybe it was just an aesthetic choice and they wanted this color to be a little squishy. In any case, does this one fall into the regret category? I would say probably no, because it does have really incredible shift rolls in those flakies, and this is one that I would probably wear myself with a glossy top coat, so you get all of those beautiful, vibrant, shiny colors on the nail. But that one is going to be a keeper. That one was Pangea. Next up we have another from the Dinosaur collection. This one is Tectonic Shift. This one I swatched in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. So I don't know if this is because it is a slightly different formulation or just a different flaky type, but this one was very opaque for me in just 2 coats. And as you can see, this is another that does dry to a matte finish. This is pretty unique to my collection as well. I am very excited to wear this one probably in the spring or maybe early summer. So this is another one that doesn't fall into the regret category either. That one is Tectonic Shift. Next up is Earth to Gaia. This one I swatched in 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and this is a very beautiful sort of minty aqua. You have a pink glow to it and then a scattering of those holographic glitters. Now this one is a gorgeous polish, however I would say for myself I question if this is very unique to my current collection. So this would again sort of fall in the I could probably have talked myself out of it were I to be recreating this purchase today. So this one is going to be in the regret category, where we'll say I could probably have talked myself out of this one. So that one is Earth to Gaia. Next up we have Mermaid Bait, and this one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and this one is a really beautiful shade of this aqua blue with a bunch of green in it. You also have those shifts in the colors of the flakies in this one. I think you can see those nicely there on the nail. Now this one is pretty similar in color actually to Tectonic Shift, so I probably could have gotten them a little bit closer together there on the color wheel, but I really thought that Tectonic Shift was going to be a lot greener. Because of that, I am questioning if I need both in my collection, because they are giving similar-ish vibes there on the nail. Obviously Tectonic Shifts dries to a matte finish, but if you were to put a glossy top coat, I'm wondering how similar they would be. However, I do love the particle size. That is one of the big differences. Tectonic Shifts is those flakies, and then Mermaid Bait has those larger particled shifting shimmers. So they are different, but they are pretty close. So this one could kind of fall into the maybe a regret category. I might have been able to talk myself into just getting one or the other, but that one is Mermaid Bait. Next up we have Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much, and this is another from the Alice in Wonderland collection. This one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and this one is absolutely gorgeous and just jam-packed full of those flakies. This one is definitely not a regret. This is a stunning color. Cannot wait to wear this one. I might have to pull it out for my winter seasonal rack, so that's another keeper. That is Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much. Next up is If Frogs Had Wings. This is another in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now I will say, when I was swatching these and organizing them in 2 colors and I had it next to Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much, I was thinking that they would be a bit more similar than they were, and I was a little worried that I had accidentally duped myself, but as you can see on the nail, Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much is definitely a bluer color, whereas If Frogs Had Wings has that pinch of like an aqua lean to it, a little bit more green, and the types of flakies are more scattered in If Frogs Had Wings. They are much more densely packed in Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much. There's also a red shimmer in If Frogs Had Wings, so they are very different, thankfully. So this one is another one that is not a regret. That is If Frogs Had Wings. Next up we have Ghosts of Hecate. This one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one has some beautiful shifts to it, and I love the holographic glitters in this one. This one I did choose to swatch in just 2 coats, but this one I would say is somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, again depending on your nail length, application, and all of that. But I thought that the ghostly quality of it worked nicely in 2 coats. You still get a nice glow off of the nail. This is another one though where I feel like I got a lot more shifts that were coming off in the bottle, so I'm curious if this one will have those shifts in different lighting, just maybe not in my studio lighting. But this one I would say could probably fall somewhere in the I could have probably talked myself out of it category if we're going just on today. So this one we're going to put in the regret category. I probably could have talked myself out of this one. So that one is Ghosts of Hecate. Next up is our third one from the dinosaur collection, and this one is Molten Lava. This one I swatched in 3 coats with a glossy top coat, and this is another one that dries to that matte finish. This one is absolutely gorgeous. This one I probably would wear in the matte finish. It looks really good. I love the color. I love how packed the flakies are in this. It comes off just looking very, very beautiful. So this is another one that is definitely not a regret. That one was Molten Lava. And then next up, and the last on this nail wheel before we move to the last polish in the haul, is Flight of the Monarchs. This one I swatched in 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and this one is another one that falls somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, but for this kind of polish I actually really like how it looks in these 2 coats. So if you wanted a little bit more opacity, you could always put a 3rd coat or wear it over a cream, but I love this one. This has such a fiery glow. It is a beautiful polish, so that is definitely not a regret either. So that one is Flight of the Monarchs. And then the last polish in the haul, and the last one from the Alice in Wonderland collection, is Bread and Butterflies. This one I didn't write down, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This one does fall somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, again depending on your nail length, application, and how opaque you want the polish to be. But this one is very, very unique. As you can see there on my skin tone, it has that sort of a goldenrod color in the base, and then that green shifting shimmer that goes to gold pulls up into the magnetic line, and then you're left with a beautiful flakies, which are actually pretty densely packed in there. This one is another one that I don't think falls under the regret category either, because it is so unique. I definitely think that this could look amazing over other colors as a topper, as well as maybe an accent nail all on its own. So that is not a regret either. So that last one was Bread and Butterflies. So there we have it. How many regrets did we have? We ended up with 1, 2, 3 regrets. Those are the ones that I could have probably talked myself out of, and then 3 that were maybes. Like, I am happy to have them in my collection now, but I probably could have talked myself out of them if I were to be putting together that wish list today. So just something to keep in mind. Hopefully this was helpful for you if you're trying to put together a wish list for the upcoming sale. If you are, let me know what you plan on getting down below. What are your must grabs? What are your favorites from the brand, and all of that. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you had a good time, and I will see you in that next one.